All right, y'all. So let's talk about this here real quick. Let's talk about this one. Man, this one sucks, man. This is some disappointing news. I know most of you already heard. I actually heard about it last week, just getting around to talking about it, though. Got a lot of other stuff going on, but I just wanted to kind of touch on this and give my thoughts here. Well, that dark cloud is looming over another fighter's head. Unfortunately, it's one of my favorite fighters. That dark cloud. Y'all know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the dark cloud, right? I used to talk about this in boxing. That dark cloud, man, that dark cloud of shame that comes from none other than testing positive for some banned substances. Popping dirty, y'all. Popping dirty. No, seriously though, man. It sucks to hear this, man. Taila Santos tested positive for several banned substances. So she's going to be suspended for about 6 months, which is more of a slap on the wrist. That's just like a regular fight turnaround for her, right? But yeah, just hearing that she tested positive, it wasn't really a shocker. It was just more disappointing because sometimes when you hear it nowadays, when you already hear like the phrase everybody's on steroids, it's kind of like, all right, it's just a matter of time, right, before it comes out. Same like when you hear a lot of stuff going on in Hollywood, right? Somebody puts it out there like, oh, so and so's a freak or so and so's a weirdo. Then you're like, oh, okay, no shocker, I knew it, right? It's kind of like this too. Like, well, first off, when PFL said Taila Santos withdrawn, I thought to myself, I was like, okay, maybe it was an injury, maybe she had something personal going on. It didn't even really cross my mind that it was going to be this, right? But when it was announced, I was just like, oh, well, okay, it makes sense. Just some of the signs we're pointing to, right? When you think about it, and y'all know what I'm talking about. So, yeah, when I first heard these things announced, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I can see that. But yeah, she tested positive for a couple of substances. I believe they said two or three, but they listed two right here. I'm just going to read through it here real quick. It said here, Taila Santos's removal from the PFL has been revealed, and it said the now PFL fighter accepted a 6-month suspension from the USADA agency for testing positive for oxadrolone and clenbuterol, stemming from an out-of-competition test on March 21st. According to the release, oxadrolone and clenbuterol are non-specified substances in the class of anabolic agents, which is prohibited at all times under the PFL anti-doping policy and PFL prohibited list. All right, so yeah, Santos was scheduled to face Juliana Velasquez. Y'all know they announced that fight week that she was out, and she won't be eligible to return until September 21st. So yeah, 6 months suspension. Like I said, yeah, that's like a little bit of slap on the wrist, anyways. Speaking of clenbuterol, that's the same stuff that Canelo Alvarez got popped for a little while back, and he also got a 6-month suspension from that. And I believe he said his was like from tainted meat, tainted cow meat in Mexico, tainted beef, something like that. But yeah, clenbuterol, I know that banned substance, it's used in a lot of other things outside of the US. It's used for like horses, it's used for people, it's used for like asthma in animals. So it's a really strong substance, but people do use it for their own asthma outside of the states, So clenbuterol, let me look here real quick. Like, what else are the effects of it here? Let's see. As far as how when people take it, let's see. Hold on. I believe some people said muscle recovery. Some people use it in bodybuilding. So it's used to cut weight. Says here, clenbuterol is not approved for the U.S. in the U.S. for human use. It's for treating horses with asthma. It's not allowed for animals in food production, but some people use it for their own respiratory issues. It's used in bodybuilding, to cut, to kind of increase lean muscle mass. It increases lean muscle mass, increases your body temperature, help your body temperature go up. Your metabolism then is primed to burn off more calories, so it's used kind of as a fat burner and to help, with muscle building. Okay. Oxadrolone, on the other hand, this one here, I haven't really heard too much about it before. Like, I haven't really heard it as being like some type of substance that increases muscle. I know it promotes weight gain, but one of the things that kind of caught my eye is used to treat pain, and it's used to treat bone pain, like osteoporosis and so on, right? So that kind of made me put two and two together, like, Is Taila Santos suffering from some past injuries here that, they were probably trying to quickly recover on because the turnaround time was going to be so quick, which I'll talk about here in a minute. But yeah, my thoughts on this whole situation. Look, I'm not one to kick a person when they're down here. Um, I'm just a little disappointed here, in Taila Santos, because it's just like another strike on her resume here, because first it was a situation going on with the UFC contract. Next, well, these two were hand in hand, the trainer situation, not paying your trainer, just leaving that bad reputation in your gym and not really building a good rapport, with your team like that, kind of being out for self, if you will. So those two things, and now hearing about this, getting popped, it just kind of makes you look at the person kind of like, oh man, like what you got going on now? Like, are you not respecting the fight game anymore? Is it just about rushing through, getting the money, and going for self? Because this is when you see like fighters kind of go on the downside. Like, fighting, it is a solo sport when you get into the cage or in the ring, but it takes a team to build a fighter, right? And I think the better team you have that can guide you and protect you from certain things and build your skills up mentally and physically and spiritually, you'll make the right choices. You won't have that type of stuff in your camp. When you look at fighters like Valentina Shevchenko and their team, they do everything right. Everything is right as far as how training's going, recovery, everything, relaxing, meditation, all of that. But when I look at Tyler, I'm like, what's going on here? Even as far as training. And now, I'm just looking at like these substances she's taking, like maybe they weren't for like increasing muscle and power and strength, because if she was on them in the past, they didn't work. They didn't work. They didn't cause her to win the Valentina fight or the Aaron fight or even the Dakota fight, which leads me to the Dakota fight. Like, what kind of injuries did she suffer in that fight? Like, did she suffer some pretty bad injuries in the Dakota fight that, if they wanted to come back in April, they had to rush and, put some in her system to help her bones heal? And speaking of the bones, you got to look at the orbital bone, that fractured orbital bone that she suffered in the Valentina fight. Is probably something that's still kind of been bothering her. So if that was bothering her, maybe they were on that oxadrolone for a reason, to ease the bone pain or maybe help it recover faster. Who knows, right? But that's what I'm saying, man. Like, had she gone about it the right way, like, I'm not sure if she did get the surgery. Seems like she didn't. Had maybe she gotten surgery, maybe taken like a year or so off and just let it heal, let your body heal naturally, she probably would have been good. But however they went through it, she came right back and just kept fighting, and probably still training, never really letting that body, never letting that the body heal. So maybe whatever past injury got agitated in that Dakota fight, because she took some hard shots, not just to the up by the sternum. She got hit by the sternum too from them body shots and up by the face again. So getting hit up in them areas, I'm just like, oh man, like, did she agitate that eye from before? So when she's out, they're probably like, oh, there's pain coming back. All right, maybe we need to get on this again, or you need to get on this to try this, right? And on behold, it didn't work out. Because now you see this situation. So yeah, just really sucks to hear that with Taila Santos. I think she is a good fighter, but just really misdirected right now. My thoughts on the suspension. I mean, that really is a slap on the wrist, though. I mean, shoot, she's been out longer. I think after the Valentina fight, right? And she fought Aaron. She was out a longer time than that. So this suspension is really just a regular fight turnaround time. Just gives it time for whatever within her system to cycle out, right, and go from there. But yeah, that's the one thing, I hate to hear when these fighters are on some type of substance like this, because then you kind of look at them a little suspect and think, okay, what were they on in their past fights, or what they took, will it continue to help them throughout their fight career, even when they're off of it? Like, will it still have effects in the long run that could be dangerous to other fighters, right? You gotta look at those certain situations, right? But yeah, man, like I said, no bashing on Tyler at this point. I mean, pretty much doing it herself as far as what she's going through here right now. But I just hope they clean up their act, man, and hope she can get back on track if she still really wants to fight, man, and just get with the right people and team that, can get her clean. I mean, mentally and physically. But let me know, guys, what y'all think in the comment section. Combo Breaker 99. I'm out. Subscribe. Peace.